Good morning. The hour of convening having arrived, all members will please take their seats. All members, please take your seats. Mr. Clerk, will you please ring the bell? Well, good morning. We have a little work to do today, so I think it's probably time that we get started. We'll have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Thank you all for being here. Doorkeepers, please close the doors and keep them closed. As our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain today is special. We're glad he's with us. A dear friend from Statesboro. He'll be introduced a little better than what I just did in just a second, but he will be introduced by the gentleman from the 160th House District, Representative Lehman Franklin. Representative Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to introduce to you one of Bullitt County's finest, Pastor Donald Chavers, Jr. Pastor Chavers is a senior pastor for Agape Worship Center in Statesboro, Georgia. But in reality, I'd say that his church is the entire community. He's everywhere and he's involved in everything. That's why I say Statesboro is his pulpit, because everywhere he goes, he shares the love of God, and as that famous quote goes, preach the gospel on all occasions, and when necessary, use words. I think this defines Pastor Chavers. He is a man of peace. He is a man of honor. He is a man of integrity. He is a man that I am happy to be able to call my friend. Please help me welcome Pastor Donald Chavers.
Speaker, Representative, daily devotional. Galatians 6:10 says, therefore, as you have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. So many of us live our lives in small circles, not noticing the big picture. We enjoy the luxuries of being who we are and all the privileges and amenities that come along with living our lives. While doing so, we only see a microscopic microscopic vision of life. It's amazing how many people prefer to read only the caption and fail to be engrossed in the bigger picture of things. It's dumbfounding to the least. Basically, we sometimes become entrapped by the word me. It becomes what I want or what I need. In other words, this thought process evolves into me helping me. That's a terrible mentality. Using these lenses, we fail to see the bigger picture. We fail to notice that God has blessed us, those of us here in this room, with abilities and talents that others simply just don't have. But they are they just for us? Are all of these great abilities and talents just for us? For our comfort? Is it just for us to enjoy? No. There's a bigger picture. That's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture. That's why we have to come to the knowledge of the fact that we're all God's children when we're enjoying the same world together. Therefore, this is why we should practice awareness. We need to stop, refocus, remind ourselves that we all share something in common, one DNA. We all have to die. We all have needs, and we all need acknowledgement. Today, we accept the fact that we're not in this world alone. It's basically somewhere around 7.7 billion people that share this space with us. We need to pay attention to the essential needs of others. We need to allow our eyes to be open. I want to share something with you, an experience that I had. One day I was sitting in a coffee shop there on Main Street. Lehman, you can appreciate this, the Blue Mile. Sitting, having coffee, staring out the window, reading Galatians 6, and as I sat, I glanced out the window and noticed a couple walking on the sidewalk. It was a lady and a guy. The lady had a limp. When she walked with a limp. And the guy who was fully functional, he took large strides, and it kept him out in front of her. This is what got my attention. Every time he got so far ahead of her, he would look back, turn, and go and assist her. He would take the bags that she was carrying, one at a time. He turned so many times until eventually he was carrying all of the bags. All along, they were laughing and having the greatest time. But as I was reading, it made it come alive. Galatians 6, it made it come alive. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Moreover, I saw Galatians 6 and 10 in action. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people. We can do that if we lift our heads up out of our story long enough to see the bigger picture. This is something that has guided my life as I've been a minister. It's an old hymn. It says, "A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky. To serve this present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may in all my power engage, just to do my master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live. And now thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, as in thy sight to live. Oh, let me now not thy trust betray, but press to realms on high. It is my prayer that everyone in this chamber would understand that you have a charge to keep and a God to glorify. Let us pray. God of heaven, we thank you for this body. We are so grateful that they have the heart to serve servants. I pray now that you would guide their thoughts, and should there be any bitterness in their hearts, I pray that you would massage it, to release it, so that they may think clearly as they guide Georgia. Oh, God bless America, this land I love. I love it because I live here. Bless us. Keep us in your cares. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We're going to stop right there and take a photo as soon as I do this. So just hold steady right there. That's for a second. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Members, you may greet Reverend Shavers in the South Ante room and take a photo if you like. And I'll just tell you all this. Y'all know he has a powerful voice, speaking voice. We're going to have him back one day. He's going to sing a little bit for us. He has a beautiful voice. Chair recognizes Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Tarvin.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And on another note, Mr. Speaker, if we always tell the truth, we don't have to remember what we told everybody.
Now that's a powerful message. Since my memory's bad, I do try to tell the truth 100% of the time. Make a good effort at it. Thank you, Chairman Tarvin. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Sturgeon of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business under the first part of the period of unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Report of standing committees. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 182 by Representative Reeves, the 99th, Williams, the 148th, Leverett, the 123rd, Silcox, the 53rd, and Evans, the 57th. Bill be titled an act tort 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to recording of deeds and other real property transactions.
Judiciary.
House Bill 183 by Representative Barton of the 5th, Corbett of the 174th, Weedower of the 121st, Moptown of the 17th, and Ridley of the 6th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16, 11, 112, and Chapter 2 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to vehicles with false or secret compartments.
Motor
House
vehicles.
Bill 184 by Representative Lim of the 98th, Oliver of the 82nd, Howe of the 50th, Jones of the 25th. The bill be titled an act to amend Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 185 by Representative Gaines of the 120th, Dempsey the 13th, Hilton of the 48th, Weedower 121st, Hatch of the 155th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 7 of Article 7, Chapter 3, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Hope scholarships and grants.
Higher education.
House Bill 186 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd, Smith of the 18th, Evans of the 57th, and Holcomb of the 81st. The bill be titled an act to amend Title 5 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to appeal and error.
Judiciary.
House Bill 187 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd, Gunter of the 8th, Williams of the 168th, Smith of the 18th, and Prince of the 132nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 9, Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to fraud and related practices.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Bill 188 by Representative Saints of the 180th, Petrie of the 166th, Hitchens of the 161st, Burchett of the 176th, Maynard of the 56th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 6 of Title 5 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to appellate practice.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 189 by Representative Meeks of the 178th, Burchett of the 176th, Corbett of the 174th, Frye of the 122nd, Dickey of the 145th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 6 of Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to dimensions and weights of vehicles and loads.
Transportation.
House Bill 190 by Representative Moptahan of the 17th, Leverett of the 123rd, Saints of the 180th, Hitchens of the 161st, and Reeves of the 99th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic.
Motor vehicles.
House Bill 191 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Newton, 127th, Owl, the 50th, Green of the 154th, Hawkins, the 27th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products.
Ways and
House
Means.
Bill 192 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Newton, and the 127th, Owl, the 50th, Green of the 154th, Hawkins, the 27th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 and Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products.
Ways and
House
Means.
Bill 193 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, Lumsden of the 12th, Hawkins the 27th, Yeard of the 152nd, Leverett of the 123rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 91 and Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to public work, contracting, and bidding requirements.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 194 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Kennard of the 101st, Fry of the 122nd, Marin of the 96th, Iowa of the 50th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 11, Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to offenses involving illegal aliens.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 195 by Representative Marin of the 96th, Hour of the 50th, Schofield is the 63rd, Tran of the 80th, Parker the 107th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16, 11, 129 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to weapon carry licenses.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 196 by Representative Powell, the 33rd, Washburn of the 144th, Wilkerson of the 38th, Daniel of the 117th, McCollum of the 30th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 9 of Chapter 12 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to access to medical cannabis.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 197 by Representative McCollum of the 30th, Powell of the 33rd, Wiedauer of the 121st, Irwin of the 32nd, Gaines of the 120th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to crimes and offenses.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 198 by Representative Gull of the 19th, Barton of the 5th, Williams of the 148th, Deloach of the 167th, and Yurt of the 152nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 40, 6, 10 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to insurance requirements for operation of motor vehicles.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 199 by Representative LaHood of the 175th. Bill be titled an act to abolish the office of the elected county surveyor of Brooks County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 200 by Representative Gull of the 19th, Evans the 57th, Burke of the 169th, Anderson of the 10th, Oliver the 82nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to primaries and elections generally.
Governmental
House
Affairs.
Bill 201 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Carter of the 93rd, Scott of the 76th, Bennett of the 94th, Hutchinson of the 106th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions regarding health.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 202 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Scott of the 76th, Carter of the 93rd, Holland of the 54th, and Gilliard of the 162nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Subpart 2 of Part 1 of Article 16 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to compulsory attendance for students in elementary and secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 203 by Representative Newton of the 127th, Beverly of the 143rd, Hawkins of the 27th, Stevens of the 164th, and Cooper of the 45th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 12 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to control of hazardous conditions, preventable diseases, and metabolic disorders.
Health.
House Resolution 96 by Representative Williams of the 148th, Petrie of the 166th, Dickey of the 145th, Corbett of the 174th, Rhodes of the 124th, and others. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide for a reduction in the rate of the ad valorem tax assessment of timber at sale or harvest.
Ways and Means.
House Resolution 97 by Representative Buckner of the 137th, a resolution honoring the life of Sergeant Eddie Thomas Terry and dedicating a bridge in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 98 by Representative Carpenter of the 4th, Stevens of the 164th, Jaspers of the 11th, Williamson of the 112th, and Jones of the 25th, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to authorize exemptions from local ad valorem taxation in addition to homestead exemptions.
Ways and Means.
Senate Bill 11 by Senator Alvarez of the 56th, Robertson of the 29th, Dugan of the 30th, Payne of the 54th, Beach of the 21st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 3, Title 35 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions concerning the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 144 by Representative Lewis Ward of the 115th, Bennett of the 94th, Drenner of the 85th. A bill to enact the George L. Burgess Act. House Bill 145 by Representative Lewis Ward of the 115th, Drenner of the 85th, Fry of the 122nd, Wilkerson of the 38th, Schofield of the 63rd. A bill relating to property owners associations. House Bill 146 by Representative McCollum of the 30th, Powell of the 33rd, Donahue of the 31st, Wiedauer of the 121st, Kelly of the 16th. A bill relating to water and sewer projects and cost tax. House Bill 147 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Jones of the 47th, Dubnick of the 29th, Irwin of the 32nd, Hitchens of the 161st, and others, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education, House Bill 148 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Carter of the 93rd, Howard of the 129th, Wilkerson of the 38th, and Smith of the 41st, a bill relating to grants for educational programs, House Bill 149 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Bentley of the 150th, Jackson of the 128th, Lim of the 98th, Sampson of the 153rd, and others, a bill relating to the Fair Business Practices Act of 1975, House Bill 150 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Thomas of the 65th, Lim of the 98th, and Sampson of the 153rd, a bill relating to physical therapists. House Bill 151 by Representative Reese of the 140th, Mitchell of the 88th, Crawford of the 84th, Hughley of the 141st, Bentley of the 150th, and others, a bill relating to special license plates promoting or supporting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations. House Bill 152 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, a bill relating to education. House Bill 153 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 63rd, a bill relating to massage therapy practice. House Bill 154 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, a bill relating to barbers and cosmetologists. House Bill 155 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Jaspers of the 11th, Reeves of the 99th, a bill relating to general provisions and professions and businesses. House Bill 156 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Dubnick of the 29th, Donohue of the 31st, Cox of the 28th, McCollum of the 30th, a bill to amend an act providing for districts for the election of the Board of Education of Hall County. House Bill 157 by Representative Evans of the 57th, Green of the 154th, Anulowitz of the 42nd, Stevens of the 164th, Bentley of the 150th, a bill relating to Hope scholarships and grants. House Bill 158 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, Roberts of the 52nd, Bennett of the 94th, a bill relating to general provisions regarding superior courts. House Bill 159 by Representative Meeks of the 178th and Deloach of the 167th, a bill to amend an act creating a new charter for the city of Jessup. House Bill 160 by Representative Green of the 154th, Sampson of the 153rd, Yerta of the 152nd, Chokas of the 151st, a bill to provide for the creation of one or more community improvement districts in the city of Albany. House Bill 161 by Representative Owl of the 50th, Oliver of the 82nd, Gilliard of the 162nd, Neal of the 79th, Holcomb of the 81st, and others, a bill relating to carrying of possession of firearms. House Bill 162 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Blackman of the 146th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Meeks of the 178th, Barrett of the 24th, and others, a bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 163 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Collins of the 71st, Gilliard of the 162nd, Powell of the 33rd, Barrett of the 24th, and others, a bill relating to the Georgia Board of Health Care Workforce. House Bill 164 by Representative Smith of the 18th, a bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Mount Zion. House Bill 165 by Representative New of the 64th, Rhodes of the 124th, Ridley of the 6th, Smith of the 70th, Hagan of the 156th, and others, a bill relating to when public disclosure not required relative to inspection of public records. House Bill 166 by Representative Mathiak of the 74th, Knight of the 134th, Camp of the 135th, Daniel of the 117th, Gunter of the 8th, a bill relating to constables, clerk, and other court personnel. House Bill 167 by Representative Mompton of the 17th, Corbett of the 174th, Gullett of the 19th, Gunter of the 8th, Knight of the 134th, and others, a bill relating to limiting driver's permits for certain offenders. House Bill 168 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Carpenter of the 4th, Barton of the 5th, Dubnick of the 29th, Tarvin of the 2nd, and others, a bill relating to imposition rate computation, exemptions, and credits from state income tax. House Bill 169 by Representative Collins of the 71st, Smith of the 18th, Smith of the 70th, and Huddleston of the 72nd, a bill to amend an act providing for compensation and expense for the chairperson and members of the Board of Education of Carroll County. House Bill 170 by Representative Carpenter of the 4th, Blackman of the 146th, Williamson of the 112th, Gullett of the 19th, Smith of the 138th, a bill relating to sales and use tax. House Bill 171 by Representative Kennard of the 101st, Miller of the 62nd, Roberts of the 52nd, Neal of the 79th, Bentley of the 150th, and others, a bill relating to review of individual criminal history, record information, definitions, privacy considerations, written application requesting review and inspection. House Bill 172 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Jones of the 25th, Houston of the 170th, Lim of the 98th, Thomas of the 65th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to the rights and privileges of patients and their representatives. House Bill 173 by Representative Kennard of the 101st, Carter of the 93rd, Clark of the 108th, Evans of the 89th, Rahman of the 97th, and others, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education. House Bill 174 by Representative Bentley of the 150th, Green of the 154th, Schofield of the 63rd, Williams of the 148th, and Houston of the 170th, a bill relating to student health in elementary and secondary education. House Bill 175 by Representative Daniel of the 117th, Mathiak of the 74th, Crow of the 118th, Jasper of the 11th, Corbett of the 174th, a bill relating to safe operations of motor carriers. House Bill 176 by Representative Gunter of the 8th, Smith of the 18th, Leverett of the 123rd, Burchett of the 176th, Reeves of the 99th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions regarding court reporters. House Bill 177 by Representative Clark of the 108th, Owl of the 50th, Carpenter of the 4th, Barnes of the 86th, and Holcomb of the 81st. A bill relating to competencies and core curriculum under the Quality Basic Education Act. House Bill 178 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Scott of the 76th, Willis of the 55th, Edison of the 43rd, Glaze of the 67th, and others. A bill relating to holidays and observances. House Bill 179 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Kennard of the 101st, Cannon of the 58th, Evans of the 89th, Mitchell of the 88th, and others. A bill relating to conditions of detention. House Bill 180 by Representative Martinez of the 111th, Hilton of the 48th, Townsend of the 179th, Huddleston of the 72nd, Moran of the 96th, and others. A bill relating to sales and use taxes. House Bill 181 by Representative Townsend of the 179th, Stevens of the 164th, Cooper of the 45th, Hawkins of the 27th, Hutchinson of the 106th, and others. A bill relating to controlled substances. House Resolution 68 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Lim of the 98th, Sampson of the 153rd, Thomas of the 65th, and Mughal of the 105th. A resolution encouraging the Department of Education to dedicate personnel funds and other resources to statewide outreach efforts to promote and improve cybersecurity education. House Resolution 69 by Representative Green of the 154th, Jackson of the 128th, Jones of the 47th, Mathiak of the 74th, Yerta of the 152nd. Resolution honoring the life of Mr. John E. Brown, dedicating a bridge in his memory. House Resolution 71 by Representative Evans of the 57th, Holland of the 54th, Lupton of the 83rd, and Silcox of the 53rd. Resolution creating a House Study Committee on the front of vehicle license plates. House Resolution 72 by Representative Evans of the 57th, Holland of the 54th, Draper of the 90th, Willis of the 55th, Schofield of the 63rd. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on excessive vehicle noise and related crimes. House Resolution 95 by Representative Cooper of the 45th, Hawkins of the 27th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Silcox of the 53rd, and Fleming of the 114th. Resolution designating Hypertrophic Cardiomyopathy Awareness Day. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Williams, the 148th District Chairman of the Committee on Banks and Banking, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Banks and Banking has had under consideration following bills of the House. Has instructed me to report same back to the House and the following recommendations. House Bill 55 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Williams, the 148th District Chairman. Representative Gunter of the 8th District Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary set under consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report same back to the House following recommendation. House Bill 80 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Gunter of the 8th District Chairman. Representative Jay Collins, the 71st District Chairman of the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security set under consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House and the following recommendations. House Bill 35 do pass. House Bill 137 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jay Collins, the 71st District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to morning orders. Our first morning order will be Representative Mary Frances Williams to introduce our Doctor of the Day. We want you to be seated.
So I'm new at this, so bear with me. Is Dr. Emerson with us? Dr. Emerson, are you in the gallery? Dr. Emerson is a board-certified urologist, member of the American Urological Association, fellow of the American College of Surgeons, member of the American Medical Association, and a board member of the Cobb County Medical Society. He's a graduate of Georgia State University, attended the Medical College of Georgia, and received his medical degree in 1983. He then finished 2 years of general surgery training at the Medical Center of Central Georgia in Macon, followed by 4 years of urology training at the Ochsner Clinic in New Orleans. He returned to Georgia and joined a four-man group of urologists in Marietta in 1989. He also became a member of the Medical Association of Georgia upon his return. He's been very active in the Medical Association of Georgia. In 2006, he was appointed to the MAG board, and he's been very active in leadership. His practice was acquired by Wellstar in 2014, where he is now employed. Dr. Emerson lives in Marietta with his wife, Christy, who teaches at Kennesaw State University School of Nursing. They have 3 adult children and 3 granddaughters, with the 4th due in November. Thank you so much, Dr. Emerson, for being our Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Representative Williams, and we are very grateful to Dr. Emerson for taking his precious time to be with us today. So thank you, Dr. Emerson. We do appreciate it. We have several more morning orders. I'm not going to hold you to exactly 2 minutes. We have a little bit of flexibility, but to keep everything moving today, I'm going to hold to you about 2 minutes. So we'll start morning orders with Representative Doreen Carter for a morning order. And friends.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr.
Too many
Speaker.
friends for me to name, so, and friends. So.
I think everyone could join us this morning. Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Today is Go Red for Women at the Georgia State Capitol. First, I'd like to acknowledge our friends in the gallery from the American Heart Association. If you would stand, and if y'all would stand, and members, if we would welcome. Thank you all for your work. And we have a group downstairs in 230 that is currently doing blood pressure checks if you need that, and CPR demonstration. So cardiovascular disease is the world's leading cause of preventable death and disability, and as a global public health crisis of our generation, and supporting the recognition of February 2023 as American Heart Month. Cardiovascular disease is also the single leading cause of death in Georgia, accounting for more than 22,000 deaths a year. This is about 1 in 3 deaths overall. Cardiovascular disease, which includes stroke, claim the life of a woman about every 80 seconds, but about 80% of cardiovascular disease may be prevented. Giving you some other statistics, in 2015, cardiovascular disease accounted for $555 billion in healthcare expenditures and loss of productivity. And it is expected by 2035, cardiovascular disease will account for $1 trillion in healthcare and expenditure loss. As I said, cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death, and it also is preventable. So I want to encourage everyone to join us in eating healthy, exercising, drinking more water. And for those of you who say, I'm not giving up my meats, I'm saying don't give up your meats, just eat more vegetables. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We yield the well. Thank you, colleagues. Eat more vegetables.
Thank you, Representative Carter.
Wow.
And thank you, members. Representative Carter, you'll notice I had my red tie in support today. I certainly did. And thank you to all of our guests in the gallery. Thank y'all for being here and what y'all do for all Americans with the Heart Association. Thank you so much. Chair now recognizes Chairman Dubnik and Representative Hilton for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joined by Representative Seabaugh as well this morning, and just want to acknowledge all of our friends from across the state and our YMCAs that are here today. It is YMCA Day at the Capitol. If you are here on behalf of YMCA, would you please stand and let us give you a warm house welcome. Thank you for what you do in your communities around the state.
Thank you, gentlemen. Recognize Chairman Parrish and Representative Lehman Franklin for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I dare say that this is a great day for Bullitt County. Actually, let me change that. I say this is a great day for Georgia because we have a lot of leaders in the community from Bullitt County here today. And I just want to recognize Leadership Bullitt. If you could stand up for a second, please. Thank y'all. They'll be here all day today, so if you run into them in the halls, please say hello.
What a good-looking bunch. Good to have y'all. See y'all in a little while, too, by the way. Representative Donahue, morning order, if you don't mind. I like that jacket.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate that. I come here before you today to recognize a group from Hall County in Gainesville, Georgia, Riverside Military Academy. My son-in-law, Seth Brownlee, is up here, and he stayed up nursing a baby goat all last night. But we have also Dennis Bagwell. They're history teachers at Riverside Military. Please stand up, and these are the cadets. Give them a hand.
Thank you, Representatives. Good to have y'all. Representative McLean is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Come on up. I'm going to have a few folks to join me, Mr. Speaker, if you don't mind.
That'll be fine.
Thank you. Today, you know, I guess what I like to say to a few folks is that, you know, there's a group that's here today, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainsmen. You know, and what they do, they're on call 24/7. They made sure that the goods, the freights, and things were delivered regardless during the pandemic. And they are here today, and I would like them to stand for us to show them a nice hand here. And I welcome and thank you for all you have done. And all you continue to do for the men and women, not only of Georgia, but of America. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative McLean. An important group of folks and how our world continues to work and our economy works. Thank you for recognizing them. Chair now recognizes Representative Chairman LaHood, Corbett, Burchett, and Sharper for a morning order. Y'all had a big time last night, guys. So that was some good food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for coming to our bird supper last night, Mr. Speaker, and all of you. We had a wonderful turnout last night at the Lowndes County Bird Supper. Our shoulders were sore from shooting all those birds, so I hope you did enjoy them. And I wanted to recognize, and the Lowndes County delegation wants to recognize Leadership Lowndes, a great group of professionals from Lowndes County. If you would stand up and let us recognize you today. Thank you for being here. We thank you for coming all the way up from South Georgia to see what's going on in the People's House, and wish you a wonderful day today and a safe ride home. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, safe travels back home. Glad to have y'all with us. Okay, members, you guys look like y'all have a morning order. Y'all don't have one, do you? Afternoon order, you got to wait a while for that. Just a little while. We'll now move on to the rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, the clerk will read the caption to House Bill 18.
House Bill 18 by Representative Burns, 159, Jones to the 47th, Abstration to the 104th, and Hatchett to the 155th. A bill to be entitled an act to amend an act making and providing appropriations for the state fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023, known as the General Appropriations Act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Appropriations, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, the chair resolves the House into a committee of the whole House for the purpose of considering House Bill 18, the supplemental appropriations bill. The chair appoints the gentleman of the 104th Majority Leader Illustration as chairman to preside over the committee of the whole House. Mr. Majority Leader.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 155th, Representative Matt Hatchett, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bring me some votes, Al. Hope y'all bear with me. I got about an hour and a half worth of comments, so hope y'all can hang around and enjoy the fun. Today I bring you House Bill 18, the amended fiscal year 2023 budget. It's set by a revenue estimate of $32.56 billion, an increase of $2.36 billion, or 7.8% of the original FY23 budget. This is the second year in a row the state has experienced tremendous growth in this amended budget. Our state has a long history of conservative fiscal management, and this year is no exception. With the additional funds that are being recognized in this budget, the House joins the governor on the wise use of tax dollars with one-time needed investments in technology and capital projects, safety and security projects, economic development projects, as well as human capital investment. Recognizing that the amended budget presents an opportunity to capture funds that will not be utilized in the current year by one department that can be used in another, we found one-time savings or true-ups based on projections that do not reflect a reduction in staffing or services. These are funds that may be repurposed in other departments, including $29.5 million in unutilized grants, nearly $18 million in the education formula and programmatic true-ups in K through 12 and higher ed, and $6.6 million in savings from new positions based on the actual start dates. There are a number of items in this budget to be proud of, and I'm thankful for the hard work of our subcommittee chairs and their members on fleshing out funding for these priorities. A few of the highlights are tax relief. Two of the governor's proposed tax relief measures are included in this document. First, the House includes $1 billion in one-time homeowner tax relief grants. Our number is $100 million less than the governor's recommendation, but we're providing for the maximum exemption on assessed home value allowed by the Constitution, which is $18,000. On average, Georgians will receive property tax relief of nearly $500. Motor fuel. The budget reflects a $1.1 billion infusion of surplus state general funds repurposed as motor fuel funds to keep the Georgia Department of Transportation whole after a 10-month suspension of motor fuel tax collections. And just to note, H.R. 66, currently in Ways and Means, ratifies that suspension. Top off. Economic development, $166.7 million is recognized for the large economic development projects receiving Regional Economic Business Assistant Grants, or REBA grants, including Hyundai and Rivian.
$35.7 million to establish the Rural Workforce Housing Fund. This fund will be used for projects that lower the cost of housing, support the workforce, and promote development in our rural communities. $5 million to match the $65 million federal grant for the Georgia Artificial Intelligence Manufacturing Project benefiting Southwest Georgia. This is a great opportunity for the state, and I've heard from many of you who are interested in supporting this project. $1 million to be matched by the Senate to complete the expansion of the Savannah Convention Center begun in FY23. The Convention Center is an economic engine of coastal Georgia, hosting more than 160 events and 200,000 visitors annually, and supporting 28,000 tourism and hospitality jobs. We put $766,812 in for the Department of Agriculture to implement the Georgia Raw Dairy Act passed last session. $650,000 for Savannah Logistics Innovation Center to support the logistics and supply chain industry in the Savannah area. We've invested in human capital. Throughout the budget, you'll see the House recognizes its needs to fund its obligations to Georgians, whether they're citizens receiving services, state employees providing them, or the retirees who've dedicated years of service to this state. The House includes $92 million for the state reinsurance program to lower health care premiums. Since this program's inception, there's been an increase in the number of providers available in the individual market. We've added $4 million for the Georgia Crime Victim Emergency Fund to offset a decline in probation fees collected. These funds are needed for victims and their families to help pay medical, funeral, and other expenses as a result of a violent crime. $2.6 million to support private psychiatric beds for adults and youth, and $1.9 million to restore beds at Georgia Regional Hospital. We've added $100,000 provided for technology infrastructure and environmental adaptations for students enrolled in inclusive post-secondary education programs, more commonly known as IPSE. Now, we know that additional funds are needed to support our children in foster care, and the House provides $5 million to DHS for alternative housing options for youth with complex needs. The committee feels strong, very strong, about honoring our commitment to state employees. To that end, you'll see a number of items across several agencies where funds are added to ensure that the $5,000 cost of living adjustment provided in the 23 budget is funded equitably across state government. Providing for state retirees is a priority of this committee and many of you. This budget provides $14.5 million to provide an additional benefit adjustment in this current year for retirees. We consider this funding an opening bid and the beginning of a discussion to make this correction that we need to make. We hope the Senate will help us provide a greater adjustment. Now, education. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the QBE program is fully funded in this budget at $12.4 billion. It's the state's largest single expenditure and arguably the most important. HB 18 provides HB 18 provides $128.2 million for the QBE midterm adjustment to reflect an increase of 12,939 students statewide. We've added $3.3 million to DOE to equip the construction industry programs These simulators support the construction career pathway, and students earn credentials as heavy equipment operators, ready to enter the workforce. There's a waiting list of schools wanting to get these simulators, and the House version provides for 32 additional simulators statewide. We've also added $1.25 million for school systems to implement character education programs. Health. The House supports the governor's recommendation to recognize the increased expenses in the state health benefit plan and adjust the employer contribution accordingly. The DOE budget is increased by $424.8 million to fund the cost of the increase for certified teachers. We've also heard from our local school systems about the impact of the increase to the employer contribution rate for the non-certified school employees that will cost them more than $600 per member per month, and the hardship of implementing that hefty of an increase in 1 year. In lieu of that, the House version of the budget provides a $100 million infusion to the state health benefit plan and reflects a 3-year phase-in of that increase, effective January 1st, 2024. This will ease the burden on our local school systems. During the COVID-19 public health emergency, Georgia Medicaid has continued health care coverage for all Medicaid members once on the program. And HB 18 provides an additional $250.8 million to support the increased utilization and enrollment during the pandemic. Additionally, a plan has now been put in place by Congress to start redeterminations on April 1st. The Department of Human Services, in coordination with the Department of Community Health, will be responsible for evaluating the eligibility of all 2.6 million Medicaid members, and HB 18 includes $8.4 million for the staffing and technology needed for this Medicaid unwinding. Safety. The amended budget provided an opportunity to focus on one-time safety improvements across state agencies. The House adds $23 million to the governor's recommendation for school security grants, bringing the total amount funded to $138.8 million to provide grants in the amount of $60,000 per school. The House recognizes that not all school buildings have the same needs and provides school systems with the flexibility to utilize the funds earned the best way they see fit among their school system. Georgia Military College will also receive $60,000 for school security grant to support domestic violence shelters, something we wish we didn't need. The House provides $2.4 million to upgrade security at all 48 shelters statewide, as well as an additional $2 million in one-time funds to offset the loss of federal funds that these shelters have experienced. The House adds $75,000 for the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council to upgrade security at their offices as well. We've also added or confirmed $34.6 million to establish a new statewide public safety radio network to achieve statewide communications for the Departments of Public Safety and the Departments of Natural Resources. We all know that communication is important, but nothing's more paramount than being able to communicate during an emergency. This network upgrade is much needed and prevents state law enforcement officers from needing multiple radios in their cars to communicate with local law enforcement. Capital construction and infrastructure. The House agrees to fund $51.4 million for emergency repairs, MRR, and life safety and security upgrades at our corrections facilities, plus an additional $5 million added by the House for technology, life safety, and security projects. We've added $73.1 million in the Quick Start program to support the design of a training facility in Newton County, construction of a training facility in Bryan County, and expansion of a training center in Pooler. All of these projects support the rapidly growing EV industry in Georgia and are part of the overall project commitment that I mentioned earlier. The House version provides $500,000 for the Department of Labor to fund repairs and renovations statewide. We know that the new commissioner has a need for additional funding, and we look forward to working with our colleagues in the Senate to address this agency's needs. In our planes, trains, and automobiles department, the House improves upon the governor's budget by providing $25 million in motor fuel funds for increased costs for maintenance and materials in DOT. We've also provided an additional $7.8 million for airport aid. There are currently about $53 million worth of project requests. Finally, the House provides $3 million to continue our investment in upgrades to state-owned short-line railroads to Class II standards. Within the DBHDD budget, the House supports the governor's recommendation of a nearly $10 million renovation of the kitchen at Georgia Regional Hospital in Atlanta, and we added another $4 million for a patient treatment mall renovation in Augusta. There's also $5.7 million provided for the Middle Georgia State University's aviation program to purchase 8 aircraft and construct T-hangars. Technology and equipment. We put $105 million to implement a state-of-the-art electronic medical record system to support medical education and training at Medical College of Georgia. $3.5 million to the Professional Standards Commission to overhaul its educator certification and ethics system to provide better efficiency and improved security. $4.9 million is provided to the Secretary of State for one-time elections equipment replacement and upgrades. More than $3.3 million is provided to the Supreme Court and Court of Appeals for a new docket system. The coding for the docket system used by both courts is very dated, and only one analyst at the vendor is versed and able to provide maintenance on the current system. $500,000 for the Department of Banking and Finance to purchase and implement software that automates the agency's licensing processes. This software will improve efficiency, alleviate employee overworkloads, and improve customer experience. In closing, I'd like to thank the subcommittee chairs and the members of this committee, as well as the staff, for the time and energy put into crafting this document. We worked at a rapid pace, but I believe we put together a document that takes advantage of the additional resources we have and uses them wisely on one-time expenses. Whether it's ensuring the safety of our children in school, guaranteeing that state agencies have the tools and the people they need to provide the services that Georgians expect, or providing tax relief to our citizens, this budget and the $2 billion in new revenue go a long way in meeting the needs of Georgians. I hope that you can join me in the support of HB 18. Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to entertain questions.
You have a few questions. Chair recognizes Chairman Perkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Does the gentleman yield for a question, please?
Yes, thank you.
Is it not true, while I absolutely loved the John Candy reference to planes, trains, and automobiles regarding transportation in this great state, is it not true that this budget allows us to continue transportation projects in spite of a 10-month suspension of the gas tax? And further true, We continue to upgrade state-owned rail lines in spite of that. And is it further true, we have a commitment on the 105 public use airports around the state that transport people and cargo across this great state.
Thank you, Chairman
Thank you
Perkle.
so much for this budget.
Thank you. I don't know if those were questions or I just affirm, and I hope the John Candy wasn't some kind of reference to me.
You brought it out. You brought it out, sir. I recognize the reference. Is that not true?
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Leader Beverly.
I hope this is a John Candy question.
I can assure you it's not. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question I have is about the $1 billion for homeowner tax relief grant that you allocate in this budget, $1 million to tax relief. Is it not true that while you offer $1 billion for homeowner tax relief, is it not true that simultaneously you're asking local districts to absorb huge new expenses in the rising cost of health care for SHBP and pay increases? So as you push the number down the cost curve, local communities now, if you're going to take away property tax, you're going to give back $1 billion, the rising cost for SHBP and payroll, where is that in the budget? Where is it reflected that local communities now have to pick that cost up if you're going to take away the property tax digest from local communities?
Well, the $1 billion in that you're referring to does not take away from the local tax base. The state is funding that discount to local citizens that are homeowners. So there is no effect to the local cities or counties on the tax base because that's where that $1 billion is going, to the counties and cities.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Whit Burchett.
Thank you, Leader. Isn't it true that the tax that we're giving back for the property tax is a rebate? So there's no offset in the local income tax. We're giving them money out of the coffers of the state. So to the point that was made, isn't it true that this is just money the state is offsetting? There's no reduction in the local sales tax.
Correct. That's what the $1 billion is going to the local government entities that tax you on your home, and then it will be forwarded on to the homeowners as a discount to them on their homeowners' taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Representative Mary Frances Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it not true that the Live Safe program in Cobb is one of the 48 domestic violence shelters throughout Georgia that is facing serious budget problems due to the loss of federal funds? And is it further not true that they are also badly in need of security upgrades? So I want to thank you for these badly needed ads that are going to benefit 48 domestic violence shelters throughout Georgia, and I urge all the members to join me in voting for this budget.
Thank you, Representative Williamson. I know you know the needs of your local shelter, and I think I share in your concerns because I have one in my community, and I know that they've been suffering definitely from the cuts in the federal spending in them.
Chair recognizes Chairman Darlene Taylor.
Thank you. Just a quick parliamentary inquiry. We all know that Georgia, we have a very bad need for medical providers, and that means we need more medical education. And is it not true that this bill provides funding to support new residency programs, housing, nursing programs for our rural communities, and particularly Southwest Georgia, which is very needy?
Thank you, Chairman Taylor. You're correct, and I hope that we can continue to boost those residency programs throughout our state to help keep our locally grown physicians in Georgia. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Rhonda Burnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it not true that there is enough money to cover all the expenses related to unwinding Medicare, money for staff, hiring a firm to get the word out, upgrading our technology so that we will not have the same issues we had with the unemployment distribution. Is it not true? Medicaid, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that I totally understand your statement, but I'm sure the lady believes that when she speaks, but I don't follow your question. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was asking is to make it, I guess, a little bit more clear, is that we know the problems that we had with the technology during unemployment, and that our system was not prepared. And so now that we're going to go and have to go back, get these people reassigned for Medicaid, is our technology up to that so that they don't have a lot of mistakes?
I think that's part. I think you're referring maybe to the Department of Labor, and you know the Department of Labor. The commissioner has been in, I think, a total of 2 weeks, and he has sent to us as of 2 days ago his needs, and hopefully that we will be able to work with the Senate to help make sure he is taken care of, and I would hope that we never have another pandemic that would cause the loss of employment that we had, but hopefully with new technology and some of the requests that he has made, that department will be able to handle those needs more effectively.
Can I further explain?
Yes.
Okay, I understand that. I appreciate that with the new commissioner. But what I'm asking for is that with the unwinding of Medicaid, to make sure that there is enough money for staffing, that those departments, that their technology is okay, upgraded, so that they'll be able to handle all that information that's going to be coming in there.
It is my understanding in the additions that we have made in both of those departments, DHS and DCH, that this is the money that they have asked to be able to do just what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Matt Dubnik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, would you agree that Georgia is the best state in the country to live, work, and raise a family?
I do, and I'd like to add something to that, and play.
And Mr. Chairman, would you agree, is it not true that for our families in our state to have a great place to live, work, raise those families, and play, that we need to further support our construction industry?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, is it not true that our vocational education programs in high school prepare our students for the workforce, which is a benefit to us all, and that those 32 heavy equipment simulators that we've put in the budget will teach our youngest learners in high school how to be job ready so that they can graduate and go directly into the workforce with a guaranteed job?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Dubnik. I do believe there is a long waiting list for those, and I think that's just a sign of how successful that program is and how much we need them trained and ready to go to work.
Mr. Chairman, do you yield for further questions?
I'll maybe take 2 more.
Chair recognizes Chairman Brian Prince.
Oh, come on.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that in this budget, the $1 million that was allocated 2 cycles ago for the veteran seed money for the veteran cemetery in the Augusta area has been removed?
It has been removed at this time, but it stays as a line in waiting for that project to be granted and awarded from the federal government.
Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that this House, this Senate, and our governor will continue to support the veterans of this state, and when the proper time, federal government gets their cycle open again, we will reapply for that position?
I have all intentions to continue to support that with you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Katie Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the work that you've done on this budget and the people that you've pulled together to actually do it. Like Representative Burnell, many people have come to me since I placed that measure on the desk about Medicaid and the unwinding. And it is very true that in the budget, we specifically spelled out the positions that will be very instrumental in that work. It was a little vague earlier, but this specifically does address those positions that I think will be able to handle it. Do you not agree?
I
In a
agree.
different manner
Thank
than
you.
the
I agree.
Department of Labor did. And also, one more thing, is it not true that we addressed the bed shortages that are across the state for those in serious psychiatric crisis, both children and adults? And this will help that in a great way.
Yes, this House and the Senate and the governor definitely made a statement on supporting those with mental health issues last session, and we have a duty to continue to do that. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to yield the well and ask for your support of HB 18.
The gentleman has yielded the well. When he returns to his seat, the chair recognizes Chairman Hatchett for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I move that House Bill 18 do pass by committee substitute.
The chair recognizes Representative Marcus Wiedauer for a second. Gentleman seconds.
Second.
Representative Wiedauer seconds the motion. At this time, we'll call the question on House Bill 18. All in favor will say aye. All opposed will say no. And it's time to vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and House Bill 18 passes by committee substitute. The chair recognizes the gentleman from the 155th, Chairman Hatchett.
Mr. Chair, as chairman of the committee of the whole House, you're instructed to report the action of the committee of the whole House to the House.
Chair recognizes Majority Leader Estration.
Mr. Speaker, the Committee of the Whole House has had under consideration House Bill 18 and has instructed me as its chairman to report the same back to the House with the recommendation that House Bill 18 do pass by committee substitute.
The report of the chairman of the Committee of the Whole House is received. The Committee of the Whole House has had under consideration House Bill 18 and has reported the same back to the House with recommendation that House Bill 18 do pass by committee substitute. The Committee of the Whole House is hereby dissolved. The clerk will read the caption to House Bill 18.
House Bill 18 by Representative Burns, 159th, Jones to the 47th, Estration to the 104th, and Hatchett to the 155th. A bill to be entitled An Act to Amend an Act, making and providing appropriations for the state fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023, known as the General Appropriations Act.
Is there any objection to the previous bill being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 161st. And what purpose does he rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Although it's small in the scope of our budget today, I think it's very important and that we appropriated $460,000. It hadn't been mentioned by the chairman, nor has it been in our data sheet. We appropriated $460,000 to purchase 10 SUVs for the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, which is a continuation of our program where we appropriated $1.1 million last year to provide 10 instructors at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center to teach use of force, de-escalation, and decision-making. And these SUVs will now be used to haul around to tow vehicles, simulators that we got through a federal grant to go all over the state to teach all the local law enforcement agencies in the state in those techniques.
That was quite an inquiry there, Mr. Chairman. But I'm sure it's correct if the gentleman so states. That is important work. Thank you for your inquiry. For what purpose does Representative Nulowitz from the 42nd rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Yes, sir. Is it not true that we all in this room maintain excellent relationships to the best of our abilities with our municipal and county elected officials that are going to probably have a lot of questions from constituents that we share with them about the homeowner tax relief grants?
I'm sure the lady knows what she speaks.
Yes. So is it not further true that I know that every one of us in this room will likely help assist those local elected officials answer any questions they might get?
I'm sure that's our duty. If the lady so states, I'm sure it's true.
Thank you.
For what purpose does the gentleman from the 116th rise, Representative Holly?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that perhaps by looking at this vote board right now, this probably serves as probably the best tribute to the former speaker that we can have in our recent memory?
The gentleman so states, and I can agree with him that he is absolutely correct. And thank you to this House. Excuse me. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 170, the nays 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Now, the House will come to order. For what purpose does Chairman Hatchett rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that this House immediately transfer HB 18 to the Senate.
Representative Hatchett moves that HB 18 be immediately transmitted to the Senate. Is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. If the chair may take a moment. Chairman Hatchett, to your entire team, congratulations on your work. Staff, it's an amazing document that addresses the needs of many, many issues for Georgians, and we're very grateful to your work. You not only did your job, you went above and beyond and worked a lot of long hours to get this document done in record time, I might say. So thank you to you, Chairman Hatchett, and your team. We'll now move on to afternoon orders. We have quite a number of afternoon orders, so I will ask the members that you will hold your afternoon orders to 2 minutes. We'll start with Chair Ballinger for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Anybody who's been involved in our CASA programs, I know we have spouses and loved ones who are also participants in the CASA program. As you all saw, you got your delicious s'mores made by Mercier Orchards in Blue Ridge, who have made these for us for several years now, and they're on everybody's desk to enjoy to commemorate today as CASA Day. For 35 years, CASA has been in the state of Georgia, and they most recently moved into the last county that did not have a CASA program. CASAs are an invaluable tool in ensuring children affected by abuse and neglect are able to meet their full potential. And over 200 CASAs are here today. Please take a moment to chat with them. They were over having breakfast and getting trained on how to interact with their legislators, and they should be back over here chatting with you, so please watch for them. They're wearing a pop of red, but please listen to what they have to say. They speak with a voice of authority whenever it comes to our children who suffer from abuse and neglect in the state. Thank you.
Representative Adesanya is recognized for an afternoon order. Gentlemen, will suspend just for a moment. Representative, hold it just for a moment. It's been a really good day, so let's finish it off really in the right fashion. So let's pay attention to the gentleman in the well. Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues, as we celebrate the second day of the Black History Month, I speak to recognize one of Georgia's great heroes, the late, great John Lewis, an ordained minister, a representative of Georgia at the U.S. Congress, and a dedicated disciple of nonviolence. John Lewis dedicated his life to the cause of equality in our nation. John Lewis was 21 when he joined the Freedom Riders, and he was 23 when he helped lead the 1963 March on Washington. And John Lewis spoke immediately before Dr. Martin Luther King delivered the "Now I Have a Dream" speech. John Lewis recognized that the fight for equality would last far beyond that speech or that moment in time. And speaking in 2006, he reminded us, and I quote, "The dream of Martin Luther King is not yet accomplished, and each of us must continue to drive hard to help build a beloved community, a nation, a world at peace with its own self." During this Black History Month, I encourage each one of you to reflect on the work of John Lewis, and I hope that we can all walk in his footsteps and remember that there is work yet to be done to make this chamber and this great state a better place for us and for generations to come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Chairman, Representative Karen Lupton is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today to honor the life and to mourn the sudden and untimely death of Patrick McCracken. Pat is son to Bob and Sandy. He is brother to Cassie. He is brother-in-law to Mike. He is uncle to Alice. He is fiance to Tiffany, with whom he was raising Addie. He was many things to many people in his hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. We cannot properly express how much he is missed. We cannot measure the void his absence leaves in the lives of those who knew him and those who loved him. Eternal rest, O Lord, grant him eternal rest, and may light perpetually shine upon his soul. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Chair recognizes Chairman Jaspers for an afternoon order. Chairman Jaspers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, if you'll look on your desk, you'll see a great opportunity and responsibility that you have. You know, as a member of the House, you have the opportunity to name a road, an intersection of a state highway, after someone important in your community. Now, the criteria for this, there's not a lot. It's really up to you. You need to take it seriously and take a look at this nice handout that Abby Day, one of our policy analysts, did. Pay attention to it. There's deadlines created within it. But the opportunity is fabulous. You can do a lot of good work at home by doing this. I remind members that they can use part of their House allotment that you get each year to pay for your sign. That's up to you. If you have any questions, please come by my desk and ask me. You know, you'll get a letter. You'll get this in color this afternoon with a little bit of more information, some contacts of GDOT, because you have to get a clearance letter first that says that road is not already named. We do not allow renaming of roads in this committee. So take some time, take a look at it. Great responsibility. You'll be on the front page of the paper when you get to do this at home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would remind everyone there are rules in roads naming, so make sure you speak to the chairman and you comply with some very important issues we need to tend to, but you have to go by the rules. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair now recognizes Chair Tyler Paul Smith for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of this House, I rise today to honor one of Haralson County's native sons, as well as this great state of Georgia, the nation, and one of our own House's former members. Judge Harold Lloyd Murphy passed away peacefully in Rome, Georgia on the morning of December 28th of 2022. He was 95 years old. He led an extraordinary life, one dedicated to his family, ideals of public service, and served as an inspiration and role model to countless members of the legal profession. He epitomized all the fine character traits of the greatest generation: hard work, integrity, self-sacrifice, personal responsibility, modesty, loyalty, and strong devotion to God and country. He was born in the small community of Felton, Georgia, shortly before the Great Depression, the son of a farmer and rural mail carrier, and mother who was a school teacher and principal. He attended West Georgia College, and following an intervening period in World War II with a stint in the United States Navy, he returned and finished his studies at the University of Mississippi and the Georgia School of Law. A 1949 graduate of the law school, his classmates included Governor Carl Edward Sanders and Thomas Bailey Murphy, former Speaker of this House. He originally studied law with the goal of joining the FBI, but came back home to Haralson County to practice law. There he practiced law and also served in this House, elected first in 1950 and retiring in 1961 to focus on his practice. In 1971, he was appointed by Governor Jimmy Carter to the Superior Court for the Tallapoosa Judicial Circuit, and after his presidential win, President Carter nominated him to the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia, where until age 90, he continued active status on the bench. Upon retiring and taking senior status, he still continued to work in our Northern District here in Georgia, and was truly a friend to every lawyer that ever asked him any advice. I appreciate his testimony, his example, and hope that all young attorneys and all of us as Georgians will follow that for many years to come. If you'd join me in a quick moment of silence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A great Georgian and a great Georgian family tradition of service to Georgians. And thank you to members for your attention. Representative Hutchinson Come tell us about your afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today I want to introduce you to Nikolai, short for, he goes by Nick, who's 14, his brother Drew, who's 8, and Molly, who's 7. All three do very well in school. They like outdoor activities. They, of course, like their video games, but they also like playing basketball together. I chose this group of kids to remind us how difficult it is to place a sibling group for adoption. If you know anyone, or if you are considering adopting a sibling group, this is something that will reward you the rest of your life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Montahan, recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, Georgia Freemasons have raised millions of dollars in the state of Georgia to support our children's hospitals, the Masonic Children's Home, the Children's CHIP program, and so many more community programs. Freemasonry promotes friendship, morality, and brotherly love. And today, if you are a Freemason and are a legislator or work here at the Capitol, we welcome you to join the Georgia Legislative Masonic Caucus that is co-chaired by Brother and Senator Rick Williams and myself. And if you'd like more information, come either see myself or him for that information. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Hughley is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I'm joined by Representative Willis. We want you to pay attention to a card that's on your desk because we have a group of distinguished African-American women coming to the Capitol next Monday. And we have a reception for legislators on Sunday from 5 to 8 at the Knowles Conference Center. And you're all welcome to attend. And if you live in Metro Atlanta, Columbus, Albany, Augusta, or Savannah, you have some ladies coming to the Capitol to see you, and also Macon, Mr. Leader. They're coming to see you, and they're looking forward to interfacing with you on Monday. So look for the ladies in the green and white, the Links Incorporated. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Always a good day. We'll look forward to seeing them on Monday, you said? On Monday. That completes our afternoon orders. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions?
Honoring and commending the firefighters of Georgia and recognizing February 7th, 2023 as Firefighter Recognition Day at the State Capitol. Recognizing and commending Maurice Faust upon his retirement. Congratulating and commending the LaGrange College Panthers. Congratulating Gail King for her efforts in caring for a loved one with disabilities. Commending the University of Georgia 4-H program, Ms. Venya Gujal, Ms. Melanie Beersmith, and the 2022-2023 4-H leadership team, and recognizing February 8, 2023 as 4-H Day at the State Capitol. Commending the Georgia chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, recognizing March 1st, 2023 as Alzheimer's Awareness Day at the State Capitol. And recognizing and commending the Georgia Young Farmers Association, recognizing February 8th, 2023 as Young Farmers Day at the State Capitol. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We're ready now for announcements. Representative McClain, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want everyone to know that the Working Family Caucus will meet in 307 CLOB. Today's luncheon sponsor will be IBW Local 613, and we'll be talking about the fiscal year budget 2023 and 2024. Look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Let's hear from the coast. Representative Rick Townsend, Chairman Saines, and Chairman Deloach for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On your desk, we've got exciting news, guys. On the 21st of February, we're having annual Brunswick Golden Isles Chamber of Commerce dinner here at the depot. 5:30 is the reception. Rumor has it there'll be some fresh shrimp coming north, and if you like a good old-fashioned low country boil, it is a place to be, I promise. We had a packed house last year. Nobody went away hungry, and don't forget the RSVP. We're looking forward to it. See one of us or a buddy, and Senator Hodges for any information. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That means we'll have reserved seating if you go ahead and sign up, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Representative. Chairman Newton is recognized for an announcement.
Good morning, colleagues. The Interstate Cooperation Committee will meet immediately on adjournment. I know everybody's eager to get to the rest of your life. We'll do that up in 403, just one floor up. A brief meeting and introduction and establish our rules, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Representative Panich is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Fulton House and Senate delegation will be meeting this evening between 4 and 6 p.m. in the Senate Mezzanine Room 1, which, as I learned, is located one floor up. Go to the women's room outside here. Go one floor up at Senate Mezzanine Room 1 between the second and third floors. We need a quorum so we can vote on the Board of Education rules, and then you can leave and do the rest of the meeting by Zoom. But please come in person first. Thank you.
Representative, I like the way I give directions, but it's over there. No, that way. That way. Thank you. Chairman Knight is recognized for an announcement.
Mr. Speaker. Again, two things. I want to thank everyone for signing up for the House Sportsman's Caucus. For those who have signed up, thank you. For those that are still haven't got your form back to me, please. We welcome all. And again, sportsmen all over the state really pay attention to what we do and our conservation measures. But the real announcement is Monday. Please put on your calendar. This coming Monday, the 6th, as many of you have been here, we are going to have Keep Georgia Wild Day at the Capitol. We do that in the second floor of the South Wing. And what originally started out as the Sportsman's Coastal Day has turned into not only advocates for our sportsmen and the coastal conservation, our advocates on the coast, but all of Georgia sportsmen who come here, all of our NGOs who are out there doing their best to keep Georgia natural, to keep our wildlife, our lands in this beautiful, beautiful state, as God gave it to us. And so we're going to be there Monday morning, starting at 9 o'clock, and we would invite everyone to come down and visit all of our sportsman partners. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll think about putting you on a timer next time, but I won't. No, that's a great day. Sportsman Day is really important to us. Thanks, Chairman Knight, for keeping that tradition and being supportive over the years. Representative Carter is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I'd like to say thank you all for wearing your red today. But Friday is the official Go Red for Women for the American Heart Association. For those of you that will still be in the metro area, we will hold a luncheon on Friday from 12 to 2 at the J.P. Carr Center in Rockdale, Georgia. And we have Dr. Jane Morgan, who is a renowned cardiologist and health media professional over the COVID for Piedmont Health, will be our speakers on Friday. And then on Saturday morning, DeKalb, we will have breakfast at the Southwest DeKalb High School at 9 o'clock. And then if you're in Newton County on Sunday, come to worship with us at the Bethlehem Baptist Church. So you have no excuse not to go red this weekend. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Carter. We appreciate you looking out for our health, no doubt. I know this is what y'all all have been waiting for, and thank you for your attention. Chairman of Rules, Chairman Smith, has an announcement.
Okay, I see a lot of people's not here, and that's good.
because they won't know this. Once a bill passes out of committee, you still have one more step. It still has to have the Rules Committee forms filled out. And until that happens, your bill or legislation will not even be considered to make it to the House floor. So if you pass legislation, be sure that you come up to the Rules Committee, fill out the form, or you can, hate to say it this way, but you can kiss your legislation goodbye.
I can personally attest that that is the gospel. So, according to Richard, excuse me, according to Chairman Smith. So you best heed the gospel. Now, we don't have any birthdays today, but we do have a birthday on Saturday, February the 4th, Representative Amani Barnes. Representative Barnes, happy birthday. We need to check her age. I'm not sure she's old enough to serve here. We have Pages again today. Pages, if you'll stand so we can recognize you and thank you for your service to the House. Page Director, if you'll bring the pages down front, and members, if you'll meet your page, we'll take some photos and thank them for their service. That completes our work of the day. Chair now recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Monday, February 6, 2023.
On the motion of the Majority Leader that this House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday, February the 6th, 2023, all those in favor will say aye. Well, that sounds good. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes have it. We're adjourned until Monday. Thank y'all.